What if everything we know about human history is incomplete? What if ancient humans didn't just imagine gods, but actually saw something real? 7,000 years ago, figurines with reptile faces and human bodies were created. In ancient Egypt, stone carvings show what looks exactly like a helicopter, a 5,000-year-old object matching modern engineering designs. Australian paintings of beings with eyes that don't look human. A tribe in Africa knew about star systems long before modern science. Göbekli Tepe, recording a cosmic disaster that changed everything. These discoveries are real, yet no one can fully explain them. What if history isn't what we think it is? In 1919, archaeologists began uncovering something deeply unsettling. In southern Mesopotamia, one of the oldest civilizations on Earth, they found figurines dating back over 7,000 years. But these were not normal human figures. Long skulls, almond-shaped eyes, and reptile-like faces, each one carefully crafted. Each one slightly different. Some hold staffs, symbols of authority or power. Others clearly represent females, with detailed human features. But one discovery stands above all the rest: a mother holding her child. But the child is not human. It's reptilian, just like the mother. And yet, the moment feels completely human. A moment of care, of connection, frozen in clay for 7 millennia. So what exactly were these figures? Mainstream archaeologists say they are symbolic, possibly used in rituals or religious ceremonies, representations of gods or mythological beings. But there's a problem with that explanation. These figures don't look symbolic. They look natural, almost like real-life moments. And then researchers found something else. Evidence of skull elongation from the same time period, a practice where humans reshaped their heads over years to match a specific appearance. So what if these weren't gods at all? What if they were real people, an elite class, people who changed their bodies to resemble something they worshipped, something not entirely human? Because similar figures appear across different civilizations, separated by thousands of kilometers and thousands of years. And that brings us back to this moment. But what if they weren't symbols at all? What if they were portraits? What if this wasn't just one civilization? What if it started over 7,000 years ago and appeared again 10,000 kilometers away? In ancient America, the Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent known as Kukulkan to the Maya, part human, part reptile, powerful, intelligent. In India, texts over 3,000 years old describe the Naga, serpent beings living underground with advanced knowledge. In China, dragons were not just myths. They were seen as divine, powerful, and wise. In Africa, serpent spirits appear in traditions thousands of years old, and across the world, the same patterns keep appearing. These were civilizations separated by vast and unforgiving oceans, with no contact, no shared language, and separated by thousands of years. They were from entirely different and isolated worlds, and yet they all shared the exact same faces. So how is that possible? One idea is shared human memory, stories passed down for thousands of years, changing over time, but never fully disappearing, until they appear in different forms across the world. But there is another, much more daring theory. What if these stories came from something real, something witnessed by ancient humans and remembered across generations? Because the pattern is too consistent. The pattern is simply too widespread to be ignored, and too specific to ignore. So what are we really looking at? Could this all be a mere and strange coincidence? Or perhaps a deeply shared human memory? Or is it something much, much bigger than we imagine? In Abydos, Egypt, a temple built over 3,200 years ago hides a mystery. A place carved in stone during the reign of Seti I. But high above, something doesn't belong. A set of carvings hidden in plain sight. At first glance, it looks like a helicopter, not similar, but almost identical to a 20th century design. And it's not alone. There are many other shapes. Some even see a modern-day submarine, others a modern aircraft, all carved into stone over 3,000 years ago. So how is this possible? Egyptologists, however, have a logical explanation. They call this archaeological process a palimpsest, a process where older carvings are covered and new ones are added. Over time, erosion reveals both layers at once, creating strange, overlapping shapes that our modern brain interprets as machines. And on paper, it makes sense. But here's the major problem with that theory. It's not just one shape, it's several, all in one place, and all of them resemble modern technology. What are the odds of that happening by accident? Still, some researchers are not convinced. They suggest something far more controversial, that ancient humans may have had access to advanced knowledge or witnessed technology, not from their own time, because these carvings appear in a sacred temple, surrounded by prayers and references to gods, as if machines and gods belonged together. So what are we really seeing? A simple illusion created by time, or a glimpse of knowledge that shouldn't exist in 1200 BC? If it's just coincidence, why does it look so precise? In 1936, deep beneath the sands of Egypt, something impossible was found. Archaeologist Walter Bryan Emery was exploring a tomb dating back over 5,000 years, filled with pottery, tools, and everyday objects. But one object didn't belong. A disc about 61 centimeters wide, carved from schist, an extremely fragile stone, a material that can shatter with just one wrong strike. And yet, this piece is perfectly preserved, with 3 perfectly curved blades, balanced, symmetrical, precise. When engineers studied it, they noticed something shocking. The design closely resembles a modern turbine, or impeller, a device used to move fluids under pressure. The curves, the angles, the proportions, they follow principles of modern engineering. But this was made around 3100 BC, with tools that shouldn't allow this level of precision. So, what exactly was this mysterious object? Mainstream archaeologists call it a decorative object, possibly a bowl or ceremonial vessel, with a central hole for a handle. And that explanation seems reasonable. But here's where the theory faces a major problem. Decorative objects don't need this level of precision. They don't follow aerodynamic or hydrodynamic principles, and they definitely don't require such fragile materials. One mistake, and this would have shattered. Yet someone got it perfectly right. Some believe it could be a part of a machine, a technology we no longer understand, or a stone replica of something originally made in metal, because the design feels intentional, not symbolic, not random, but engineered. Why would ancient people create something that follows modern engineering principles? In 1887, in a quiet field in Scotland, something massive was discovered. A stone hidden beneath the earth for thousands of years, measuring nearly 13 meters long and 8 meters wide, about the size of a tennis court, and its surface is completely covered with spirals, circles, and strange geometric patterns. Over 90 different carvings, all carefully placed. Spirals within spirals, repeating across the stone. For over 100 years, no one could fully explain it. Most believed it was symbolic or ceremonial until 2016, when everything changed. Archaeologists used advanced 3D scanning technology and revealed details never seen before. The carvings weren't just random marks. They followed precise depths, angles, and spacing, organized, structured, intentional. And then came the most shocking discovery. The patterns appeared to match the surrounding landscape. Hills, rivers, natural formations, as if this was a map carved over 5,000 years ago. But that's not all. There is more. Some researchers saw something even more. They believe the patterns align with the stars, a possible map of the sky itself, mapping both the earth and the heavens. But this was created around 3000 BC by people with no written language. And yet, the precision is undeniable, and similar patterns appear across the world, across continents, across thousands of years. So what were they really doing? Recording their world with incredible accuracy? Or something beyond it, recording history? In the remote Kimberley region, a mystery has survived for over 4,000 years. Hidden inside caves are beings unlike anything else in ancient art. Large, rounded heads, deep, dark eyes, and something missing. They have no mouths. To the local Aboriginal people, these are the sacred Wandjina, spirits of the sky and rain, believed to control weather and life itself. But their appearance raises a question. Why do they look so familiar? These were painted thousands of years ago, long before modern science fiction. Some say spiritual beings, others visitors from the sky. They didn't paint what they imagined. They painted what they believed was real. So were these spirits, or something that once came from the stars. In West Africa, a tribe has preserved a mystery for centuries. The Dogon people, living in Mali, with traditions passed down for hundreds of years. But their knowledge of the stars is what shocked the world. They spoke about a star system called Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. But Sirius is not just one star. It has a companion, Sirius A, and Sirius B, a tiny, dense star, a white dwarf, about the size of Earth, but with a mass nearly equal to our Sun. It orbits every 50 years, and here's where we find a major problem. Sirius B is invisible to the naked eye. It was only discovered in 1862, discovered by the astronomer Alvin Graham Clark, yet the Dogon described it long before that. They knew it was small, dense, and orbiting, even describing its 50-year cycle. So how did they know? There are two main explanations. First, the contamination theory, that European explorers shared this knowledge. After its discovery in 1862, it seems like a very logical explanation. But not everyone in the world agrees with this. Some believe this knowledge is much older, passed down from unknown sources, encoded in stories and traditions. Their knowledge was preserved carefully for generations. A star, invisible, and yet it was somehow known to them. Across time, across knowledge, stretching across knowledge and deep belief. So how did they truly know about these stars? How did they see what they could not see? Over 11,600 years ago, humans built something extraordinary. The oldest megalithic structure on Earth, each pillar carved with animals, symbols, and figures. But one pillar stands out. Pillar 43, the vulture stone, carved in incredible detail. Vultures, scorpions, cranes, and a headless human figure. Researchers from the University of Edinburgh found the carvings match the stars and may record a catastrophic comet impact around 10,950 BC. The headless human, mass death. The animals represent constellations, documenting the sky at the time, an extinction-level event, possibly triggering the Younger Dryas. Collapsing ecosystems, wiping out species and civilizations. And yet, the survivors carved their warning in stone, then buried the site deliberately, sealing it from time. A message to future generations, if they ever return. This wasn't mere art. It was something else. It may have been a warning, warning us of devastating cosmic events, of extinction and survival. And yet, almost forgotten by history, a cosmic event recorded, happening over 11,600 years ago. The precision, the symbolism, the burial suggests humans already understood disasters and the need to warn. Not primitive, not symbolic for beauty, but a calculated, astronomical record. This wasn't art. It may have been a warning, a message written specifically for us.